I had quite a traumatic experience, actually. And funny enough, those people aren't really working, and I am a leading lady. The best thing you can do as an artist is bring life into art.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of With Nyasha Michelle, and today I have a special guest who has been gracing us on the big and the small screen and has been doing fantastically. And guess what? She is an African queen from Ghana, to be specific. It is the one and only, and I gotta say her name correctly, Adwoa Akoto.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Did I say your name correctly?
You got it spot on. It was perfect.
Yeah. How are you doing, beautiful?
I'm great. Beautiful. How are you?
I'm good. Very, very glad to have you here. Black women. Mm-hmm. You know, we stay standing on black women, especially those. I had to say, I'm sorry. Like, I had to say, you know, you're an actress from Ghana, because I think we really need to continue to celebrate what you have been achieving. But before we get into all of that, let's just kind of, ease the listeners and the viewers in. So you're an actress.
I am.
Of course, as I've said. We're going to go into more of what you've done and how you've gotten to be where you are right now. But the first thing I want to do is ask you a question I ask everybody when they join me in the studio. So what is one defining moment that led you to the path that you're on today?
Ooh, one defining moment.
One defining moment.
Ooh. I'd say, it's coming to me. I remember I was working in the corporate world, and I met someone who was very interesting. One of these like very eccentric characters, but very deep. And, you could almost discard a lot of what they were saying if you didn't listen very carefully, because they would talk and ramble quite a lot.
Yeah.
But one thing he said to me was, I'm not concerned about your next 10 years. I'm concerned about your last 10, right? Like when you have lived this life, because God willing, we're hitting the hundreds.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? When you have lived this beautiful life and you're in your last 10 years and you're looking back at your life, did you live the life you want? Did you choose the life you lived? Or did you just live the life everyone else chose? And it hit me. I just went home and it was in my heart. And I'm smiling because actually when I started writing poetry about a few years ago, about a year ago, I wrote a poem which is this literally, like I literally wrote a poem about your last 10 years and everyone was like, oh, that touched me. And I'm so glad, because that for me just started to make me evaluate my life. And I thought, I'm not living the life that I choose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What is one line from that poem that really resonates with you? And if you can, say the line for me and expound it a bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the poem. So it's, I'm going to kind of paraphrase this, but it's like, when you're 70, 80 or 90, and you're kind of old, and you're on your deathbed, or you're on your last legs or your last cheer, and you look back on your life, are you looking back, I don't remember it too much, I'm trying to remember this, when you're 70, 80, 90 and life's nearly old and you look back at your life, did you live the life you chose? Something like that. But I think the main thing there is, when it's your last 10 years, and you're looking back, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think I'm such and I know this more about myself now, and you probably know this as well, being a creative, we're like, there's so much we love to do. And for me, it's like, I feel like I could do a million things.
Yeah.
I could do a million things. And I was doing a million things. Like at that stage of my life, I was doing a few things, but my real passion was acting. And actually just choosing to act, I get to be those million things Does that make sense?
That's such a good point.
Yeah, like I really get some, like, oh, I'm in the right career path because I don't have to choose whether to be a doctor or a lawyer or a businesswoman. I get to do all of those things through the life that I'm actually living. So yeah, it was just making sure that I was being intentional about my life and taking out all the noise, you know, and taking out all the responsibility of who you think you're meant to be as a sister, a human, a person, and just saying, Adwoa, what do you want? What do you want out of life? And it's always been acting. I've always known it's acting. It's the thing I was scared of the most.
Wow.
So I just did it.
Wow. And here you are living out what you were scared of, but you are owning it. Amen. And there's something you mentioned about, you know, this person, right? The defining moment answer. Yeah. And you said that you were in the corporate world. Yeah. What were you doing before? Who was Adwoa before acting?
Gosh. So what I just quit before acting was an NGO. So that wasn't actually corporate, that last one. But it was in a, I guess, corporate setting of the NGO because I started at the grassroots. So I was part of it was called St. Mungo's, and they had a new scheme called the NSNO Hub. And it was like the A&E of housing, basically. Yeah. And that was very rewarding. It was crazy. It was wacky, but it was very rewarding. And I was kind of climbing through the ranks of that very quickly. And I don't know, I kind of, even that's weird how I got into it, right? I wrote a short film about youth homelessness. And it opened my mind. So I came from a finance background. So I studied economics and finance and went into a finance career. And I was like, I feel like I'm killing myself because my parents were like, you know, you have to go to university and get a degree. And I was like, well, I've got to try and do something to change the world, like leave my impact. So I fell into this because I wrote a short film, because that's what you do when you're creative about it. And then I loved it, and I sent it off, and they loved it so much they called me in and we had a connection there. And then I got a job with them, and then I was like, yeah, I can change the world. I can really do this. And I didn't feel like I did that for like a few years and loved it. But then when I started to climb the ranks, I just didn't feel like I was making the change that I really wanted to make. Yeah. And I think that was because I started to feel like because I was doing a lot, but I was like, I could do more. I could do more. And I was trying to think of what that more looked like. Like, where do I go? Because I was climbing up so well, and I was thinking, well, if I went this route, this is what I'd be doing. And if I went this route, this is what I'd be doing. And I didn't really want to do those routes. And acting is something that every time I saw it, my heart would pang. Wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been in it since I was super young, but getting into professional spaces since 14. I was going into drama schools. So my school was funding my drama school, so it was something I'd always been in and around. But this period of my life, it was about a 4 or 5 year period, I wasn't acting. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't. And I always felt like something was missing. Yeah. And I never knew what I think I lied to myself, right? I was saying I don't know what's missing. But every time a friend would call me who was still in drama school, they would speak about something that happened in class, or they would tell me about a job that you're perfect for. Are you going up for it? It's like, no, dude, I don't act, you know?
Why had you stopped?
Yeah. Let's get real. You know, I think there were a few things going on there, but there was a catalyst. I had quite a traumatic experience, actually. And you know, it's weird because I'm taking a deep breath because I've never spoken about this publicly. Like, I've spoken about it with friends and in private settings, but I'm never like on a public platform. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty traumatic experience in the sense of I was in school. I was in like a part-time acting school. And
it's okay.
But yeah, one of the things I think, because you're super young. I was super young. I'd always kind of been in acting school, and this particular school was one that I'd say shaped me a lot in terms of my acting and stuff. And I think there were some incredible aspects to it. But one of the very traumatic things for me, which affected me for a lot of my life, actually, up until only recently, up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I'd say, I got really badly slated on my voice.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this teacher was a very important teacher and would come in and critique classes. And I remember this particular class was just about my voice and went in on me. Like, yeah, it was bad, because at that stage in life, I didn't know you could train your voice, you know. Now, obviously, I do, but I didn't know you could train your voice. You know, I come from a very working class background, so we didn't even know what drama school, like professional drama school in terms of RADA, Guildhall. I learned all of that later on, you know. I know people who were prepping for that since they were, you know, when I was going, because the drama school I went to was Hackney Youth Empire. My school funded that for us. So, you know, we went to that, but I didn't know, you can go to a RADA or a Guildhall, you know.
Yeah.
So training your voice was something so foreign to me. And I just got so badly slated on it in this one class, very publicly too. This is not just in front of your class; it's in front of so many people. And then I got no sort of positive criticism in terms of this is what you can do, because he kept saying, you know, why are you pitched here? Like, I don't want to hear you talk. It's like that kind of, you know, kind of slating. And I was like, I have a terrible voice. You know,
you believed it. You took it on.
Absolutely. I was like under 21 at this. Like I was 21. No, I was younger. I was, I think, 18. And of course, and at the time I also had heard a lot, you know, you can have bad visuals, but you can't have bad sound about the film and TV medium. So I'm like, well, if I've got a bad voice, how can I act? Do you know? So I think that was the main thing. That was a huge catalyst. And then there was some other kind of demands about, like, because I was going to university, and it was, you got to make a choice, and there was all these things. And I just remember thinking, well, I'm clearly not even good enough to be an actress, because I don't have literally, this is 100% the story. And because saying it now, I am in such a different headspace. But actually going back there in my mind, I'm like, wow, yeah, that was it. Like I didn't think I had a voice to, and I didn't know you could train your voice. And, you know, I have a terrible singing voice. So I'm like, well, this must come from somewhere.
Oh my God.
So I just thought, I think I didn't quit, but I used uni as an escape. I was like, well, I'm going to do economics and finance, and I'm quite smart, so I can hide behind that. You know, at least I've got, you know, so my parents told me I have to do economics and finance, and they did, or they told me I had to go to university, but I think a part of it was, okay, like, I guess it was heartbreak masked in escape somehow. Yeah.
Wow.
Never said that publicly. I'm shocked that came out of me right now.
Well, you know, I have to thank you for sharing that. And also just say I'm sorry that you experienced that. Because there are certain... Fairly recently, I was on a podcast as well. And they asked me a question about just my experience of coming into this creative world. And I shared something that it's not the same, but it was along the same lines of being... literally publicly ridiculed by someone who's supposed to, yes, they can critique, but essentially tell me how to be better.
Right.
You're supposed to be nurturing me.
Right.
You're not supposed to be coming and completely battering me. Like, you know, if I'm a plant, you know, in the ground, and you come in, you're literally stomping on me. How? And then you walk away. Excuse me, where do you think I'm going to now?
Where can I go?
Yeah, you know. So I'm really sorry that you went through that. And I think to see you where you are right now, of course, you're speaking to me as an actress. So myself and a bunch of people listening right now are like, wait, then how did you come back from that?
And, you know, I think life is funny, right? Because... I also think it's weird. Like, I do think that attack was so much more, and I call it an attack because it felt like an attack, because I've always had a weird relationship with my voice, because when I was about 7, and we debate this in my family because there was like, but we moved to Ghana. for a number of years, and I came back for secondary school. So about 4 or 5 years I lived in Ghana, and I was born here, but when I came back I had an accent.
Yeah,
right. And you come back to year 7 with an accent, boy.
Yeah.
Boy,
then them kids are
boy,
ruthless.
it was, what are you talking about? Like, people were mimicking my accent. It was wild. So, and even when I moved to Ghana, you had a British accent, right? Yeah. So then it's people like trying to speak the way you speak. You're getting treated differently based on your voice. I come back to London, I'm getting treated differently based on my voice. So I think what I came to realize later on in life was, you know, voice had always been a very important, you know, and knowing how to hone that voice. So I really used my voice when I was in Ghana because it was praised. And I really silenced my voice when I came back because it was ridiculed and teased. And there's like a very famous line, like people from my secondary school know it because it was such a bad line for me, I said. And, you know, so I think I'd always had a strange, you know, and even getting into acting, it was never something I considered until I considered it, you know, because in the youth empire, no one was talking about my voice, and then naturally you lose your accent. And then so then it never came up again until I was in this acting school, this part-time acting school, and then it came up in such a bad way. Jeez. And that, I think, really, whatever, we're talking about childhood stuff then, right? Which, you know, in hindsight, I didn't even like figure those pieces out back then. So now I'm even having a whole public awakening right here. But yeah, so I always had a strange thing with my voice. And then when I went to university, so I grew up in, you know, for the most part in Tottenham. So then when I went, but I started working in a bank really young as well. So I had this really great job in a bank, and that was at university. And those were both in like West London. And I went to, and it's weird because people then started to say to me, you speak like a white woman.
Oh my gosh, girl!
I started to get that, and and that was when I was going back into Tottenham, and they'd be like, "Why are you talking like that?" No, it'll be, "Why are you talking like that?" I'm like, "Talking like what?" And it was like, "Talking like a white woman," and I'd never consciously ever put on a voice, so I didn't understand where that had come from. So I thought, well, maybe it's because I've gone to university, but they equated maybe a university education with a white woman. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. So I just felt like my voice has always just been this main character in my life, and I don't know why. So yeah, for a few years, I just had a strange relationship. Even when I got into like corporate, and then I went into an NGO, it was, you're so, and at this point actually it was more positive. It's like, you're so well spoken. I'd never know you grew up in Tottenham, you know, like, because I tell people I proudly own, like, you know, and I'd be like, okay, like, you know, so I was kind of so it was just a very weird relationship. With acting, I realized I missed it. And then so this is how I came back. I realized that actually I don't have to, because I also didn't think it was a viable career. Like, you know, so I just thought, well, if I could never have a career doing acting, would I still act? And I thought, yeah, I would. Okay. Like, it would be like when I go and play tennis, right? Like, I'd actually want to just go play acting.
It's a passion.
It's a passion. Yeah. So I just started to just do acting classes again. And I loved it. And I, with no intention of having a career out of it, I just loved it so much. I just wanted to do it. And then via like different acting classes, I started to learn things like you can train your voice. There are different acting techniques. You don't, because at the time we were doing a lot of method acting where you would really go there in real life. Yeah. So you were almost bringing, there's something like memory recall where you would relive something very traumatic, which I don't subscribe to anymore.
I was about to say, how is that?
Yeah.
People do that?
People still do it because it works for some people. For me, acting is play. It's fun. That's what it became when I decided to go back into it, and I love that I did because it took the pressure of it being anything, and it was just fun. I mean, you have a bunch of us adults, right? And we get in a room and you're telling me you're in an apocalyptic world, and it's probably kind of what it is now, but it wasn't there. It wasn't then, right? And it's like, and you have to pretend that you have to jump over that. And it's like, yeah, let's do it. And you get to just be 3 hours of doing whatever you want to do, and then, you know, go pick up my bag and go and be an adult and change some people's lives, you know?
So if you don't subscribe to this in terms of method acting, go to something that actually genuinely happened to you that's traumatic. How do you get into that space though and into the zone as an actor?
It's play for me.
Okay.
It's play. It's like, I think a lot of actors will say this, and like kids are some of the best teachers in acting.
Okay, true.
Like if you go back to when you were like 5, 6 and you were on the sofas and you had to like that the living room floor was an ocean. It's like you really believe it and you commit to it and you just, and for me it's play. Like acting is always fun for me. It's always fun. It's only a few times where I think I need to get into the psyche of like a very dark character, which I did have earlier this year. And the scope of it was so serious that I was like, this isn't play in the sense of it's not fun. I'm not going to walk away from this laughing, right? But I had to, because this was a dark character, and I remember someone says when you play a dark character, you can't judge the character, because you can't, the person being bad doesn't think they're being bad. So you've got to find the reason for why that person's right. And when I say this was a dark character, it was tough. And I was sitting with this text and I was like, how do I do justice? Because if you're going to take a role, you've really got to find that real, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I had to do a lot of research on that, and it made me go to some dark things to watch, because you're watching this dark person and what they've done, and just trying, and the crazy thing is, I found a reason for her to have done what she did.
Do you want to share?
I did. It's not out yet, so I don't know how much I can share of it, but it shocked me because, the choices she made, like as a human myself, I'm like, how can you do that? How can you make that choice? But when I found that reason, it didn't make it better, but it gave her a justification. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I was like, wow. And it's kind of, it makes me look at people differently. And I still think wrong is wrong, but there's a certain, I think I don't jump to judge anyone.
You know what's so interesting? We had another actor come on a few episodes ago.
Yeah?
Yeah, his name is Simon Haynes. And we actually spoke about, how he gets into that character. We spoke about a lot of different things, and that the expertise of becoming what a type of person that the regular human being would say that's a bad person. And what you said in your own words is quite similar to what he said. This thing of like, you just have to get to understand this person, and pretty much everybody has a reason why they do things. I mean, even myself as Adwoa, there's a spectrum, right? And then you're like, I feel like I'm a good person, and then you speak to someone and like, it depends on you putting yourself in different circumstances. Someone does this to your child, you just don't know the range. Do you know what I mean? Like you can be different people in different circumstances, and you might not know just because you haven't been put in that circumstance. So there's like a range of things you can be at any one point, and it doesn't make you good or bad. It just makes you human, and humans snap. They do, and you're like, oh my God, I never would do that, or I never would have thought I would have done this, or I never would have thought he would have done that, she would have done this. So you guys, though, you do something very fascinating for us as viewers, because you take us to a different world. Like, we believe you, and it's so interesting when I've seen how actors sometimes, if people see the person who plays a character, they're like, you did this or you did that,
I didn't do it, that's the character. I didn't do it, girl, I didn't do it.
How did you fall in love with acting? Because you have said it's something that you loved from back in the day. Do you remember when and how? And is there anyone who inspired you?
So how I fell in love with it, I think I was called to be a storyteller.
Love that.
I don't even think I know I was called to be a storyteller. And actually, acting wasn't the thing.
Okay.
Everyone says that acting wasn't the main thing. So I actually started writing. Right? So when I was really young, like 5 maybe, I would write. And I'd write stories. I was writing for, like I say, if my parents knew, because they were talking about be a lawyer or a doctor, you had a little best-selling author right here.
Creating characters and everything.
Literally.
Wow.
Hear it. So I was writing these stories, like little books, and I'd give it to the adults and my parents to read, and no one was reading these books because it was just like, oh yeah, and they'll put it down. And here's the storyteller in me. I was like, no, you're gonna read my book, because I'm writing my book. You're gonna read my book.
Gonna take my craft seriously.
So you know what I did? So we had quite a big extended family, and we always used to get together. So I roped in all the young kids. My sister, bless her, she will like still tell this story. Yeah, I roped her in, my brother, my cousins, and I got them to perform the stories I was writing. Yeah. Which is playmate. Like you're making a play. Yeah. And then, you know, like Christmas or family events, we'd put the shows on because guess what adults love? They love to be entertained.
Of course.
So all the kids have done a dance for us, the kids have done a play, and then we'd go and we would reenact. And that was when I got the bug for acting, because I was like, oh, no one ain't paying attention to my writing, but if I put in this medium, because then everyone loves it, it's like, oh, you're getting all this praise, and you're getting all the, and you know, I'm a middle child, but I'm the oldest girl, so I don't feel like I wasn't baby last, you know. She's getting pampered. I wasn't the big boy, and I wasn't naughty, and I kind of would, I guess, kind of be invisible if it wasn't for this thing.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think so. So I think this was my thing, and everyone knew this was my thing, and it was, I was bossing everyone, but you know, you're going to do it because the adults are going to watch this, and we're going to get that. Sure you do it properly. You're doing it properly. I whipped them into shape, you know, and I think about it now and I'm like, my goodness, they just wanted to play. They just wanted to play with their cousins.
Siblings, though.
You know, and my cousins too. You know, it was the whole shebang.
Everybody was roped in.
Everyone was roped in, but I think that was when, and my school was what noticed it. Miss Spencer, shout out to Miss Spencer. She was actually phenomenal. Yeah. She really just honed that craft for me. And kept championing me, actually. And then she got me into the Hackney Empire Youth Club, which was phenomenal at that age, and just kept, like, she would bring me back to teach younger kids. So I kept getting exposed to acting. And when I got flying colours in my GCSE, she was like, you have to do this. Wow. And it still wasn't viable at that time, but she kept saying I had to do it. So
don't you just love it when you think about your life and you think about certain individuals who played a pivotal role? Yeah. Whenever anyone, because I've got a few of those, but whenever anyone mentions teachers, it's like, God bless them people, because they really, truly, sometimes they can make or break a dream in a child who becomes an adult. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So with you, of course, we've gone through talking about Miss Spencer. She made a positive impact, and then the other person who we spoke about earlier, but and then as a result of that, you chose to kind of take a break, and it was fine. Did you choose to take a break from acting, or did you choose to quit?
Oh, do you know what? And then you just said there, because the second person was a teacher too, the one who broke it.
Yeah.
Girl, this is an awakening. Yeah.
Look at that. Thank you very much.
Cases, she said,
so come into my TED Talk.
TED Talk, baby. Yeah, teacher. Yeah. Right. Wow. Yeah.
Because I'm very curious to then find out after that experience that you explained, which I totally understand was such a pivotal thing. How and when did you then get back into it? And how much fire did you have when you got back into acting?
So listen, and you know, I said earlier, I felt I know I'm called to do this because when I started to act again for fun was when I started to feel alive again. So I was fulfilled. Because it was never about getting paid to act. It was just about acting. Yeah. And I think that it has to be a distinction made, because people were like, so were you trying to get a job? No. Like, I was actually fulfilled just acting. So the act of acting or storytelling brought me alive. And before that, when I was not doing it, I felt like something was missing. Oh, wow. Right? Like, I was getting these promotions, and I would never forget, because people were like, hey, she's doing so well. And like, kind of like, you know, workplace, what's the word? Like where there's a bit of workplace complications or whatever it is, because they think you're going for the promotions. Like, I don't want it. Yeah. I don't want it. You know, I was actually thinking, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I finished university and I'm doing this thing, and I was like, is this it? Wow. Like, I'm going to work and climb up the ranks and get a husband and have children and just keep working and then die, and then is that it? That was what I was saying. Is this it? You know, and the husband and children sounded lovely, but with the work aspect, I just remember thinking, I can't believe this is my life. Like, in a sense of, and now I know even more, but I was never a 9-to-5 person.
Yeah.
So you put me in a 9-to-5 is like putting me in a cage.
Wow.
I was so miserable, and I'm such a happy person. And I think that's why it took me so long to realize I was miserable, because even in those settings, I'm still happy. And I go home and it's like I'm drained.
Yeah.
I didn't have the language for it at the time. Why am I drained? I'm always tired. And I'm so young. I'm like, why am I so tired? And it wasn't a physical tired.
Yeah.
Right? It was a I guess maybe like a broken dream tiredness, maybe. I don't know. But it wasn't physical. So it's not like drink coffee, you'll be fine, or, you know, you couldn't work it away. So I guess it was, like when I started acting and just realizing that this play was what I wanted and I loved it. And it was actually everyone else around me that was like, oh, you have to be an actress. You have to be an actor. And I remember thinking, I don't have to do anything. Like, what are you talking about? But I loved it because that's all I ever wanted to be. But then I was like, oh, you're so lovely that you think that I should. And I remember doing a duologue slam, and it was a Simon Stephens play, and I loved Simon Stephens. He's a great playwright. And I did it, and I won. Like, we won. And I thought, I don't win anything that time.
Girl.
But then I won this. And, you know, there was a lot of buzz that came with that. And, so it was just all of these. It just kept being people just coming up to me saying, you need to do this. You need to do this. And I remember being gracious, saying, thank you. But I think it got to a point where, because I'm trying to remember the actual, like chain of events. Let's see. When did it? I think it got to a point where, because there was also a time I saw that's another thing. I didn't think I could act in the UK, but I thought I could act in the US.
Oh.
Because at the time, a lot of black, when I say black, I mean like darker skinned black actors, but in particular darker skinned black women were saying, just go to the US, just don't even bother here, just go to the US.
Lord have mercy.
And I'm thinking, well, when am I going to the US? Like, it wasn't even part of my plan. So I was like, okay. And then I remember there was a casting thing that someone sent me, and it was an agent, and he was looking for actors who looked American, like black American actors, or was it black American, African American, or just American actors, but it had American. And for most of my life I'd heard, you're going to do so well in the US, you're just going to do so well in the US. And I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for this. And I went in, and I was ballsy, and I was young as hell. And he said, I didn't think I even applied, I think I just turned up. And they said, do you have a monologue prepared? I said, a monologue? I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, you ready to go? I said, yeah. He goes, what monologue are you doing? And I thought, well, I'm going to do this monologue. And I gave it a name, and I said, it's by this African Ghanaian playwright, because you don't know it.
Love it. Nobody's
and
gonna
I
know.
just improv on the spot.
Yeah.
This African playwright monologue. That was just my own thing off head. And I remember at the end I held like this intense gaze. and there was a few of them on the panel. There was like 3 of the agents, and they were like really looking at me, like, because I was like, you know, like really holding that gaze, and they were like, and I did this deep breath, and this was the thing I learned. I don't do it anymore, so I can do it now. I went, like I really let go of weight, you know. And everyone was like, and then I was quiet for, I think I might have even like gone around the room, like, you know, taking a second to walk to the back.
You really was like, I'm creating.
Yeah, and then when I came back, I was
tension.
like, yeah, I'm back.
It's me now. I love that. How did that go?
I loved it.
Yes, girl.
They ate it.
They ate it up
For breakfast and dinner and everything in between.
and left no crumbs.
I remember he was so sweet. He said, oh, do you need a minute? I said, no, I've taken the minute. I've taken the minute.
This is why she's an actress, ladies
you know
and
what?
gents.
Yeah. And it's so funny now because I can't believe I did that. Like, I actually can't. But there's just something about the boldness of just just when you go in and it's play.
Yeah.
And I say this to so many people where they're like, they want it so much. And I'm like, but that's the thing. You want it too much. Because there's a value to being human. And I think when I've met actors, especially upcoming actors, not everyone, of course, but most people, it's kind of like they just want it so much at the detriment of themselves almost.
It's a good point. Yeah.
And I'm like, but that, you don't understand, you've just given away your value. Because the value is you respecting yourself. Like that self-respect, because that's what people, I think, buy into actually, is your authenticity and you respecting yourself and knowing who you are as a human. Or at least doing the work to figure it out. But the minute I feel like you will bend and mold and adapt to any and everything, then you've kind of lost that value of your, do you know what I mean?
You know, that's so powerful in so many ways, just in terms of life, but in your industry even more.
Oh my gosh,
I hope you are enjoying this episode of With Nyasha Michelle, but I did have to interrupt you a little bit to remind you, are you subscribed? I know you're enjoying the content, so make sure that you subscribe, but also don't forget to like, share, and comment. Put something in the comments there. What's your favorite bits? What's the bits that you don't like? Who do you want to see me talk to next? All right, you can go back now.
I have 1,001 questions for you because firstly, you kind of touched on Black women and dark-skinned Black women, right? In the industry. I want to talk to you about that. I want to know what your experience has been like. And when did, I wish we could just carry on and talk, and I want to be like, what happened after this audition? Of course, they ate it up. When did your big break come? You've been doing quite a lot of different projects as well. There's one that we also came to watch, but I must be conscious of time, right? So let me just first get into this. When did and I don't know if I want to use this word because I don't really know, because I think when someone is already doing what you're passionate about, that's already a great big break. Because journalism, for those who know me or know a little bit more about my story, what I do now was a second career.
Really?
I was doing something else, girl.
Wow.
And then I was like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? So I kind of left everything and had to start all over. And so everything you're saying, I'm learning so much from it as well, because passion, isn't it amazing to be doing something that you love?
Oh my gosh.
And to look at it as like play. But I don't want to, if I carry on, I'm just going to keep on giving you more and more of my thoughts and we hear less from you. So I want to take it back.
I would love to hear more from you though. Like, I want to know your story, girl.
We're going to have to go for
another podcast.
Part 2, But tell me about your experience as a Black woman in the industry.
Oh, wow. This is such a layered question. Man, it's such a layered question because for me, I've really, and I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I really saw, because I've pretty much grown up in this industry now, in terms of even when I wasn't professionally acting, I've always been in and around it. And we're in a very, it's a very visual business, so you're cast immediately on what you can and can't play. And so I actually remember like a few of the earlier roles, they had me going in as a gang member's girlfriend.
Lord have mercy.
And like, I grew up in Tottenham, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I've got that life experience or whatever. Not of being a gang member's girlfriend. I never dated a gang member. Just putting that out there. Just
thank you for telling us.
And so I'd go in, and I remember, like, I'd go in and it's very, I'm not going to mention names, but I'd go in and I'd do my performance, and it'd be like, yeah, but it's not gang members' girlfriends.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, imagine you grew up somewhere. And I remember they were like, yeah, I remember you were like from South London or North London. Someone was like Tottenham. I was like, bitch, I am from Tottenham. Yeah, right? What are you talking about? And they're like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And I was like, but I don't actually know those people, and I think it's not that I don't think they exist, but that wasn't my reality. So it was, because I get it, there are people that talk like that, but also there were people who, and I wasn't doing the educated voice, you know, but it just wasn't, I guess, hood enough for them, or it wasn't, you're not rough enough. And I remember I walked in at one point, they're like, no, you don't even look like a gang member's girlfriend. I was like, okay. Wow. So, you know, there was a lot of that. And I think, so for me, being a dark, like, and it's, because you can't not be, like, you can't not be who you are, right? Like for me, I can't not be dark skinned. So I can't walk in and say, when you say I don't see color, but you see a dark skinned woman in front of you. So immediately I've walked in, you've made a decision about who I am in your world, right? So it was interesting for me because growing up, again, color was a newness to me, because when I went to Ghana, just very briefly, I wasn't a black girl in Ghana.
Nope.
I was just a girl.
A girl.
Right?
Exactly.
And then when I came back, it was, you're dark skin, you're da-da-da-da, you know. And then there was also an element of it not being associated with desirability, right? Like and then there was a point where it was, oh, you're dark skin, but you're kind of pretty, but you're dark skin. Like there was that as well. And it was like, so it was always so interesting to me. So I always felt like I wasn't the thing. I was in close proximity to it, but I wasn't the thing, you know? And I remember that I got told loads of things. I was told you never be a leading lady.
No way.
And this was actually by people who were closer to me, actually, as opposed to further. I feel like, yeah, you're going to be, you know, you're going to be this kind of role because of, you know, and they didn't say in those words, but it was, you're just not that. And funny enough, those people aren't really working, and I am a leading lady. And I believe this because I was so young and impressionable that I was like, okay, well, I need to kind of find my lane, which is like the best friend or the sidekick or whatever that was. And it was actually through the industry that I started to realize that actually, oh, people see me this way, because you're starting to get called in for it. Because like I said, I was going in for the roles, and then you start to learn, and it was actually, I'm going in for roles that are more like, you know, I couldn't really get the working class roles at the time because I didn't look working class enough, whatever that meant. And then it was, oh, you can't be the secondary character, you're meant to be the leading character. So I'm learning these things through the lens of the industry, and I'm just taking it in because I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, they're saying this and they're saying that. So, and then I'm getting told, go to America. Oh my gosh, you're going to lead on shows in America. So in my mind, I'm like, I've got to get out to America. Yeah. So I guess it was never like, I never knew where, it was such a confusing pot, because I was like, where do I stand or stay in this industry? But I'll tell you something really quickly, where it really flew for me, because I used to have like a really straight weave. I was a very palatable black woman, if you want to call it that, right? Like I had gorgeous weave and, you know, all of that. And I remember I got really irate with a lot of things about black women and hair, and how people were policing our hair. And I felt to myself, well, because even though I had a short pixie cut outside of the weave, so I did wear my natural hair, it was relaxed. And I felt that was very palatable in itself, you know, like it was acceptable standards of what a black woman's hair should be. I remember thinking, who's the gays are you pandering to? And And I never knew what my natural hair was like, because outside of being a child, I'd been relaxing my hair, I think, from we were young, from like 8 or so, we'd been relaxing our hair. So I was like, what does my natural hair even look like?
Wow.
I remember just going to my brother's barbers actually, and saying, shave it all off. And he was like, huh? You know, he shaved it off, then he called my brother called my mom. I think I was having a breakdown. And then I went and did headshots, but in my weave. And then we had like 20 minutes left. And I said, let's get some headshots with my natural hair. And then we did. And I will never forget this, because I literally was borrowing clothes from the photographer's reel because I didn't bring enough for those headshots. And I sent them to my agent. And then we had all of these headshots. And you know, like there was like 4 short ones, 4 long ones, and she was like, this is brilliant. So we put them all up on my Spotlight, which is an actor's database where they submit you for work. And then I got a plethora of auditions started coming through. And I remember every time she would say, you've got this casting, I was like, which hair was it? Was it the long? Because the long was like a weave, right? So I was like, wig, sorry. So I was like, was it the long or the short? And she'd be like, short, darling. And I remember after like the 7th time, I stopped asking, because it was always short, darling. And the industry embraced that element of me. So it's kind of, It's so weird. But I think when I became authentically myself was when everything really flew for me. Where I was trying to play, because I told you I was so confused where I was placed. I was like, okay, but if you look this way, you have to have straight hair. And that wasn't from the industry. That was from life. You know, this is growing up in life. This is why I felt I was placed. And I was trying to do this or be this thing. And the minute I kind of actually went to a part of me that I didn't even know, which was so authentically black and me, I think that unlocked something new. And I guess also maybe I was the only one that could really do that, because you know, and have my hair texture and have my skin color and be me, and yeah, the auditions came rushing. Like, I did go to America a few times, but I remember at this point feeling like I don't even, like, there's work here for me to do, and it came.
So where you are sitting right now, you are a working actor. Yeah. Do you have an agent?
Yeah.
Was the agent the ones who were looking for someone who looks African American?
No.
Or like we've moved beyond
they dropped
that?
me, honey.
Really? And she's laughing, you know. What happened?
Yeah. I love this story. They dropped me, boy, because I was so young at the time. So, you know, that was a case of a lot of a lot of vim, I guess, a lot of confidence, not enough craft.
Got it. Yeah,
not enough discipline, and also I think just a lot of walking into rooms and them telling me who you are, and I'm like, you don't know. But not having the lingo to be able to say in corporate speak, like, oh, let's try it this way, you know, play that. But I think it was a mixture of things, but also, just didn't really understand being prepared enough for an audition or how to book the job, or, do you know what I mean? Like, not understanding the craft, just thinking, this is fun. Like, this is fun.
Yeah.
But no, much different place to then. And they were also, what I'd say would be like, I guess a beginning level agency. If you're just like getting into the business and stuff, you know. But no.
We've moved on.
We've moved on.
Oh my gosh. Like I said, there is so many things I want to talk to you about, especially because as well, you are a female actor. I haven't had a lot of conversations with actors, let alone black women. And honestly, I unapologetically love to support my black women. I did say I be standing on black women. But I have to be conscious of the time.
Yes.
So I want us to kind of go in a little bit into the work that you've done.
Okay.
Right? Because we can't have you come here and I know I love it. You've told us your story. Yeah. Part of it. I'm sure there's so much more to it. But let's just hear a little bit more about your work. What inspires you? But I think let me ask it targeted with a particular project you did as the peg for that, as we say in journalism. So we found out about, you know, one of your latest projects, The Fisherman. Yeah. So let's talk about that. How you got involved with that project. What it felt like to be a part of it. Because I believe the main character, a man, right? He's Ghanaian.
He's Ghanaian.
So we tapped into your heritage there. And how that reflects in terms of the type of projects you like to be involved in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, The Fisherman. It's so dear to my heart. It really and truly is, because of that is a job that I was supposed to do, man.
My gosh, okay.
Yeah, that was a job I was supposed to do. So Zoe, the director, I met her in Cannes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first... I don't know if it's the first film festival, but it's the first year where I was like, I'm going to go into film festivals because... And I was just acting at the time, but I'd started writing. And that's another thing. Anyone said to me, you're an actor, right? You're a black actor, right?
Wow.
Like, right.
Wow.
So, right.
Why do they say that? Just really quickly. 'Cause that's something.
Do you know what? The people I'm talking about are like the decision makers, and they're the movers and makers, especially like the women and some men who are at top levels. And when I'd meet them, I'd be saying, hey, I'm an actor, and in a few years' time, I'm going to write. They're like, no, write.
No.
They're like, if you're a black actor, you write. And, you know, I think from what I understood them to be coming from is you make your own opportunities, you know? Because I know this is a bit of a touchy subject with actors, because some people are like, I just want to act. And I truly believe if you just want to act, you should just be able to act, because I don't think every person wants to write.
Absolutely.
And I think the saving grace for myself is I love writing.
You love writing already.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do get it when people are like, why do I have to? I do. But for me, I love writing. So I maybe there's also a thing of, maybe they're like, God is like, you got to write. Yeah. And I'm telling everyone else to tell you to write. But I just know they're like, you're a black woman, write.
Okay.
Just do it, and they would reference people, but they would be like, you need to write. So I just remember going to film festivals to kind of do like research almost about writing and just this world, because I like to immerse myself in something before I do it. And I thought in a few years I'd like to start writing and pitching, and I ended up going to festivals and pitching and then getting called into like Disney and all these places to like pitch. Girl. I didn't get the development or get on the slate, but I got a lot of amazing feedback and contacts,
and
which I still have
as well.
And a lot of recommendations and different introductions. So that's another thing. I'm at this stage in my career where I just know a lot of producers and a lot of directors and like behind the scenes people, and I don't really know how that happened because I'm an actor, and everyone's like, how do you know these people? I'm like, I don't know. But it's a great problem to have, I guess. And so I was in Cannes Film Festival exploring this writing thing, and Zoe and actually what I forgot, I've said this story before, what I forget is she actually was she'd broken her leg or something, so they gave her like this scooter. Yeah. So she drives up to me, and she says, I know you. And I was like, I had no clue who she was. I was literally racking my brains. But it was this black woman's brunch in Cannes. So everyone was like, it's black women.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't know her, but I'm having a good time. So she must be vibes. And so I don't know you, darling. She's like, no, I know you. You auditioned for my show. And it was busy, so we're all kind of having a good time. And she's talking. I'm like, what's she talking about? She's like, you auditioned for my show. It's on Netflix. And then she starts saying what the show's about. And I think this sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I did not audition for it. So I said I didn't, but I should have.
Yeah.
And then she's going through like her phone, and I think what we came to the understanding of is she had reached out, but I wasn't available or something, but she had seen my work.
Yeah.
And we connected on that day just because it was such a wacky conversation, and we ended up hanging out that whole week. There was a bunch of us. And we just got on. And when we connected and I got back to London, I remember checking out her work, and I thought she was brilliant. And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about in terms of that project, but I want to work with this woman one day. And it would be many months later, nearly a year later, that she'd been in Ghana. And I just left Ghana because I go to Ghana quite a lot. I just left. I'd got back to London, and I was like, you're in Ghana? And she's like, yeah, I'm location scouting.
Ooh.
I was like, for what? She goes, we're doing a feature film called The Fisherman. And there was a short. The Fisherman was a short before it was a feature, and it won HBO awards and all part of the HBO Short Films Awards. Either it won or it did really well anyway. And I remember thinking, oh, that was a brilliant film. And it was filmed in Ghana. And I said, and she goes, actually, there's a part that you'd be perfect for, but you're not based in Ghana. And I just said,
don't worry about it.
Just send the script.
I'm there all the time.
I was like, is there a script? Send me the script. Because for me, it always starts with story. And I was at this point in my career where I was with a great agent. It was one of the biggest agencies in the UK. And I was getting so many scripts. So in my life at that point, like the market research of just reading writing was, there's no better way of learning to write than reading writing, or like just seeing so much. So I knew what a good script looks like because I'd read so many scripts, and also so many were bad. And I think it was such a great learning curve, because when you're at a top agency, you assume that everything's going to be good. But then I realized, because you're at a top agency, everything comes your way.
Yeah.
So you read the good scripts, but you also read all the bad scripts. And there were so many bad scripts getting greenlit. I couldn't believe it. But they were, or like undeveloped characters for myself, like for black women, or, as well. And it was like, what? So you're reading that. So then you realize the good scripts, there's this many, but then everyone's going for those good parts, right? So when I read the Fisherman feature, the script was just brilliant. And then it's set in Ghana, and the character was called Adwoa, but it was spelled the exact same way my name is spelled, because most Adwoas in Ghana is with a J.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to send you a tape. I was on another show, but I said, I'm going to send you a tape. And the thing is, I remember doing that tape so quickly because it felt like the character was in my bones. It just felt like such a natural, I didn't feel like I had to do a lot of prep, because I was like, this is a character. I read her and I was like, this is her.
Yeah.
I sent it in and she was like, oh, but we've already started casting. Go, guys, why is she talking so much? Why are you talking so much? You know, take this. I just sent it to her and I forgot about it. Like it was because I think for me, sometimes it's just having the opportunity to actually show what I can do. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But it's at least I got to do that. And I think it was like less than a week later, they said, hey, the producers want to meet you. And I went in. And it was so funny even that because the producers were all like stern. And then me and Zoe were like having a ball. We were just laughing. And I thought, what are they so stern for? I just had so much fun in that meeting. And then like a few days later, I got the offer. And I remember meeting them like, why were you all stern? Why were you all smiling? And they're just all vibes. But I was saying actually on the stage at the Fisherman screening that when I got the offer, and this is why the synergy is so beautiful for me, because at the time my agents, they were amazing, but they were also like, this is really small film and it's in Ghana and you know, there was no budget really, or it was a very tiny budget for what they were used to. And it was, they would never tell me not to do something, but it was also like we were getting some really good things coming through. So it was kind of like, let's figure it out. And it was, and then I remember I got the offer through and the name of the offer, I was like, oh, they made a mistake. Because they sent it to me, they wrote Adwoa Akoto. And my name's obviously Adwoa Akoto. So I was like, they missed, it was the same spelling all the way through apart from the T-O at the end. So I was like, oh, why did they do that? So as I'm typing to my agents to let them know they made a mistake, it dawns on me that the lead character is called Mr. Ako. And I'm playing his daughter. Oh. So they've written the character's name, and the character's name is Adwoa Akoto. And I thought, man,
that was meant to be.
Yeah, and then the name changed in the end because her name couldn't be Adwoa because she was an Ashanti. She's Ga.
Okay.
Culturally, it wasn't correct. But even that, I was like, so I had to do the job, and then it was like, okay, now you can change the name. So in the end. But that synergy for me was unreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There's just so much there or of your life that I would love to unpack even more. But we have to be conscious of the time, unfortunately. But I love this, like, because I feel like we've spoken about a lot, like representation within the industry, things that you've had to overcome, which I'm sure so many of those watching or listening can relate to. There is one question, though, I'm so keen to find out, because you are someone I would describe as, from what I've learned today, quite tenacious, passionate. Right?
Yeah.
And inspiring.
I got a lot of passion, honey.
Yes, girl. And you're there sharing it to others. Where do you envision yourself? What is the future? I don't want to give you this 10-year, 5-year, whatever. But where do you want to take Adwoa? The Adwoa who's decided, hey, I am going to enjoy this life and I'm going to enjoy the play. Yeah, because life is made for living, right?
Yeah. Oh, Nyasha. Do you know what's so beautiful about that question is all my life I'd been a planner. Like I had the milestones, right?
At this age, I've got a husband, 2 kids, I've got this, I've got that, the house, the fence.
I'm learning that God is the best planner for me.
Talk about it.
You know, even when I quit my job, I felt like there was a push in that moment. There was a push in that season. It felt really weird because I just can't explain it. It was a knowing. I went in, quit, and then I had to do like a 2-month notice because of whatever, or 2 or 3. It was quite a long one because of the position at the time. But and I remember I knew I could backtrack because they were like, you can backtrack. And I was like, you can backtrack. It's like, it's not happening. In fact, I didn't even know it was this long. But I remember doing that and then not really having anything in place, which is weird because I'm a planner, but I just felt like a real push that I had to move now.
Yeah.
Probably a very, you know, when I think of it logically, it's a very silly decision. But actually, the way my life kind of snowballed from there, within 6 months, I landed my first TV gig. Wow. And it wasn't just any TV gig. It was a HBO BBC. It was I May Destroy You with Michaela Cole. And that kind of really got the ball rolling. And And then within the first year, I'd done 2 TV gigs, and then I was like signing to a new agent. And then there was just so much movement that happened that I almost took for granted that story. Because when people would say to me, what do I do? I'm like, oh, you just do this, you do this, you do that. And they're like, no, sis, like I've been doing this and I've been doing that. And I just realized, oh, that's the story that was unique to me. Not to say no one else can have that story, but I guess that was my story.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here and tell you that I made it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All I kept doing was showing up and having fun.
Yeah.
You know, like even with the I May Destroy You, there's a beautiful story about that. But one of my classes where I was doing play, and I won't go into the details because of time, but there was, you know, 2 white practitioners, and they said, oh, there's a show being written. It hadn't even been announced or something, or maybe it's very early days, that's coming out next year by Michaela Cole. You should look out for it. We think you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay. Didn't even think about it for like a whole year, like, because but that seed was planted
already
there. And then kept getting updates about this show through the gate, and I had a really little part on it, but it was enough to just get the ball rolling. And it was also enough to, I think, validate me that you can have a career in this industry. And also it happened 6 months to the date when I quit my job. I got that role and I thought, what?
Yeah.
And then just so many amazing things. So once I quit, things happened for me very quickly. But, you know, and everyone's like, but I'd been in this industry from so young. So there was years and years and years of that, you know. But in terms of when I quit and I was in this fully, and I'm not telling y'all to quit without no backup plan, because I had a house fund. So I had that to fall back onto. But I quit and things started to happen. And I just think it was just about playing and having fun. Like I just remember I never thought of, because people are like, what if you never work? And I'm like, but why would I think that?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you know, this industry, and I'm like, I'm not coming into agreement with that. Why would I think that? I think I'm having fun. I think I'm playing. And I think I'm going to keep working. Like,
I love that.
You know, so I think for me, when I think about the next, like when I think about life going forward, I'm just like, you know, I'm just going to keep playing and keep being of service to this craft.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think for me, I just want to be the best student I can, because I don't think you ever stop learning. I learn so much from this, like from this craft, about myself, but about other people. I love learning about other people. I think we're in the business of people, and I think I'm just going to continue being open to learning. I'm going to continue being inspired by people and by the world. I'm going to continue living life, because I live life.
I love that.
And every time, that's never failed me. I think the best thing you can do as an artist is bring life into art. Like, you know, they say art imitates life. I really believe that now, because all the experiences I have, I can bring into the work. And I feel like I'm almost like a painter. It's painting these strokes of emotion. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep enjoying and trying to live as full a life as I can, being in service to my craft and to people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep looking out for that.
Amen.
I definitely am looking forward to seeing you writing. Seeing some of the stuff that you've written on the screen, in the theatre, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Just, you know, give us a holler
when that's the time.
Yeah, because to hear that, that's something that you've always been passionate about. You know, it's exciting. It's good. It's good.
Thank you.
And that leads me to a segment of ours called Pass the Mic.
Okay.
In Pass the Mic, my current guest answers a question left by a previous guest.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, we like to have a little bit of fun. So when you get to leave your question for the next guest, you know, you can write a bit of something. I don't know what type of story you want to write. So the Pass the Mic question that you get to answer is from Joel Henry. Yeah, so he's a previous guest, and he is 6-time champion.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see if I do this?
Ooh.
Dunking. Right. So he's basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, basketball player, but he's a dunker, right?
Okay.
And the question he left for you is, what is making it for you?
Oh, wow. Huh. What is making it for me?
So, like, what position do you need to be in to say, I've made it?
Honestly? So if you asked me when I was fresh, like young, like, I don't know, like out of uni or something, it would be a certain amount of awards, I guess, certain level of recognition, maybe certain amount of money in my bank account. In the last few years, like, to me, truly making it is being in my right mind, in my right health, with my family in their right mind, in their right health.
Yeah.
Being able to live a comfortable life where I don't have to worry about money and choose projects that serve me as a person, keeping in line with my integrity and my morals.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
And I think that translates to a lot of things in life. Now you get to leave a question for my next guest.
Ooh, you ready? Okay, what do I want to leave them with? When you are gone, I know that sounds dire, but I promise you're going to live a beautiful, long life. But when you are gone, what do you want to be remembered for the most?
What's the legacy you are leaving?
Literally.
Oh my gosh. I really love that question because, hey, it really makes you like think about life.
I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to answer my own question.
Okay, guys, what do you think about Adwoa's question? Please leave your own answer in the comments, because I think that's a really good question for all of us to think of. So that's not for me to answer that question. It's for my next guest to answer. And, it's a bit sad for me because it means that this conversation is done. Yeah. Are you going to come back?
Girl, you can't get rid of me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and just being authentically you and being vulnerable to share experiences that I know that so many people watching, listening, are encouraged by, because you're here thriving in what you're meant to be doing. And I love what you said. You are enjoying it.
When I stop having fun with it, then I'll be done with it.
Then we know it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, as we wrap up this episode of the podcast, please can you talk to your new and old fans and let them know where they can find you?
Hey, so you can find me on my socials, and that's Adwoa Akoto _ across everything.
Yeah. And I'm sure you already know how to spell Adwoa, but in case you don't know, let me tell you. Okay, it's ADWOA. Come through.
Got
This
it.
educated Zim babe. I'm Pan-African.
You better.
Guys, I hope, like myself, you were inspired and entertained by this conversation with Adwoa. Make sure you follow her. Like she said, look up what she's done, especially if you're an actor. Hopefully she can also be a muse for you. My name is Nyasha Michelle. The show is With Nyasha Michelle podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share with somebody who you know will appreciate this. Until next time, bye.